Hello, I'm Pamela Klein. By now, you know what Putting People in Mission is all about. It's 100 mission programs moving forward, 100 dreams becoming reality. It's members of the Reformed Church in America joining forces to make a difference in our everyday world. We've pledged ourselves to find creative solutions, to reflect the light of Christ, to be the salt of the earth. The projects which have been made possible through PPIM are helping us do just that. For example, a Nicaraguan physician who's implementing a new village health program, a missionary pilot who's visiting remote villages in Alaska, youth groups who are learning to put their faith into action by serving the homeless in Staten Island, New York, or Laotian refugees who are finding support and training in Minnesota. There are dozens and dozens of stories. It really is a cause for celebration. Although PPIM is so broad in scope that it's impossible to show everything that's happening, we have selected in this video 4 projects which serve as examples of what is taking place. You've probably heard the expression, give someone a fish and they eat for a day, but teach them to fish and they'll eat for a lifetime. Well, at the Bessie Green Foundation in Newark, New Jersey, we're doing both.
Before I came in here, I used to have a drug habit, a heroin habit, and I used to sell crack to make money. So I stayed in New York and sold that for quite a while.
If you stay on the street and you don't have anything to do, you stand a good chance of being absolutely destroyed. So when you have people who show an interest in you and you've been able to make the change from the street to the inside of the church to work in the program, the chances are emotionally it's going to be very difficult for you to go back to the street.
This is Mark Cahill's first day on the job. He will be working with a team from North Reformed Church of Newark, earning $4.25 an hour and serving the community in which he lives.
Well, I'm going to be selling ice cream, and this ice cream is going to benefit the hungry and the homeless here. 50% of the profits go to the hungry and the homeless.
Well, we're heading up to King Boulevard. That's the street between NJIT and Rutgers, Newark, and they're having a big street festival there. We're going to be selling ice cream. Joe Thomas from our church is going to be playing there with his Dream Band and have Sandy Jarvis as a vocalist, and be a festive occasion. We hope to sell lots of ice cream as a benefit for our Bessie Green community program.
In the city of Newark, New Jersey, 106,000 families need food and clothing, 30,000 need reasonable shelter, and 25,000 kids need minimum wage jobs. The Bessie Green Foundation was established at North Reformed Church to do what it could to address these problems.
And all Bessie Green represents is Jesus's commands to us, his sons and daughters, as we do to the least of his people, we do to him.
Well, we're selling, as our slogan says, the best ice cream for the best reason, to help the hungry and the homeless. And we've been doing this, we started up a couple years ago as a training program, and we developed 4 carts. We have 3 of them up here today, and Ben and Jerry's let us use a scoop truck as well for this street festival. So we're trying to train people in jobs and also make some money to help feed the hungry in Newark.
You'd be surprised, amazed, to see how many people sleeping in the street in the nighttime, going down to the train station.
Okay, happy birthday.
This was Bessie Green's idea of doing the jazz ice cream and all that jazz function. I think it's great. It helps attract an audience and certainly helps them raise the money that they need to help the hungry and homeless. So again, it's their idea, and you know, we work to support it.
One of the basic concerns that Ron had was that there was no training and there was no upward mobility for any of the people that were coming in for help, and so he really created this program along with the people from the church to help train and get people job ready. And it is exciting because it trains people while at the same time it's raising money for the homeless, so it has a twofold purpose.
It's given people dignity. It's given them an opportunity to make a living for themselves and to learn about entrepreneurship and business, and that's important, to be able to help themselves.
Other than simply coming to the private sector for funds on a contribution basis, this is coming on a basis for a joint venture to provide a lasting stream of dollars.
Without putting people in mission, we wouldn't have developed the ice cream cart ministry to the extent that it has. There's no way that we could have had Joe Thomas's Dream Band and together had ice cream and jazz at Newark and Rutgers.
In my past, I have took the wrong path, and it led me to a dead end, and I could see where it was going to lead me. Now I'm going to take a chance on something that's going to, I know and believe is going to lead me to a much better life, so that's what I'm doing.
That's what's great about the church. The church gives people the merciful opportunities that it receives itself.
Forgiveness. It's something we have experienced through Jesus Christ, and it's something we pray for every time we pray the Lord's Prayer. But forgiving is often a much harder thing to do. In our society, the judicial system is designed to punish those who don't obey the law. In Kalamazoo, Michigan, this PPIM program is trying to bring grace to the punished.
I've even broke it down here in jail. I don't try to do it a day at a time here. I do it a couple hours at a time. I make it from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock, until chow comes. And I make it from 11 o'clock until 4 o'clock when they pass out coffee. You always hear the sound of the door, but you never get used to it closing.
It comes to my mind that we have, at this point, about 30,000 people incarcerated in Michigan. That figure has doubled over the last decade. But the impact for Restore, and I think for all of us as a church, is that 95% of those who are presently incarcerated will come home sometime.
Coming home. But to what and to whom? After serving time in jail or prison, many people are released with no one to help them re-enter society. With help from Putting People in Mission, there is a new program in Kalamazoo, Michigan called Restore, which is designed to help individuals while they are incarcerated and when they are released.
I don't think a person, anyone, can get out of prison and go back into the old ground unless they have some people to help them and to guide them, help them with numerous things. Moral support, maybe try to help them find a job, a lot of things, so many things that they've got to have, because you take a man out of prison, you toss him back into society, he can't survive very long because he's got too many things going against him.
I was thinking about one gentleman I met 3 years ago when I first started, well, longer than 3 years ago when I first started in ministry in the neighborhood that I work in. The man had been in the prison system for 15 years. And he was not educated. He could not read. He did not have any family support at all. He needed somebody who had the time to walk with him on a daily basis through the steps of re-entering a society that was very, very foreign to him. And at that time, there wasn't such a thing for him. He did end up, about a year ago, ending back up in the prison system. And I do wonder if there was something like Restore available to him at the time he entered free society again. Would he have gone back?
each person that comes out of prison, if he doesn't get help, most of them do not have a good family background. Okay, so if this man ends up being out for a short while and he gets busted on drugs or stealing or whatever, you know, he violates his parole, he's going back to prison. So with this man going back to prison, you're going to pay, the taxpayers is going to pay out anywhere from $55 a day to $75 a day for his keep. But not only that, his family is probably going to be on ADC or welfare, and his children, so taxpayers have to pick that bill up too. So it's a pretty tough thing to look at, and if there can be such a program to help an individual not go back to prison, I think it would be really money well spent.
I think the Restore project, one of the things that strikes me important about it is that we act as a group, as a community for the incarcerated to come out to. And most of the people that return that I've talked to said, I didn't have anybody. We just went back into the system that I came out of, and so the only memory out there waiting for them is the old memories and the bad choices. So Restore tries to help be the memory of, more recent memory of better choices.
Even though
through these past years, I think Reverend DeYoung, or Don, I call him Rev, and his church and his people have visited me in jail. They've helped my family when my little girl was sick. And I guess the best thing that I liked about it was I could introduce them as being doers, not sayers. And I think in prison you find that means a whole lot.
New Life Community Church, Dalton, Illinois. Abundant Life Community Church, Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. Road Home Church, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. New Hope Community Church, Gilbert, Arizona. Christ Community Church, St. Peters, Missouri. Crosswinds Community Church, Victorville, California. These are just a few of the new congregations which have received funds from PPIM. New churches are exciting, and they typically reach out to many people who have never shown any interest in existing congregations. Next, take a look at a young family who's starting one of our PPIM churches. This one is in Grimsby, Ontario, Canada.
Our vision was to have a community church, a church which impacted its community, a church really that specifically meets the needs of families, because this is a community with many young families, higher percentage than average communities.
It's often when a young family, they have kids, that they start to think about church again, because most people in this area did go to church when they were growing up, but probably left when they were 12, 13 and haven't returned. But now that they have kids, they're thinking, well, maybe church again.
Okay, everybody pick your man up. I don't Raheem Ismail.
I'm really excited about Forest View because I've really seen a tremendous impact in the community. It's a community church, which means that they are, in fact, going out and touching the community, focusing on the family and running various programs to reach families and to build relationships within the family, a Christ-centered relationship. And I think this is really the way the church should be going today, rather than, just opening our doors up Sunday morning and say, come to us. I see Forest View going into the community and really having an impact on a lot of people. It's just great.
Heino and Karen Blau are leading Forest View Reformed Church, but they are also leading their own young family. The Blaus have 3 children and are expecting a 4th.
When I became a mother, and we're not trained or educated to become mothers these days. So when I became a mother, it was a shock to my system, to who I was in pretty well every avenue, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I was having a hard time adjusting. And in the meantime, I had met another woman in Grimsby who adjusting. And we decided that there must be other mothers in the community that are also feeling the way we were. At least we were hoping that. So we met up with a couple other people from Ebenezer, which is where we were at the time, Ebenezer Reformed Church in Fruitland. And the four of us got together and decided we started experimenting in the first year, just for 6 weeks, to see whether there was some interest, whether people would want to come to something like this, and it actually worked.
Moms need a lot of caring and need to know that that there's someone there that can listen to them and that can minister to them. Actually, I was the other way, like, and it came to me. And I was just amazed at how people that I didn't think really knew me or weren't that personal towards me, but how they cared. They came to my house with baking and cooking and offered to do laundry and things like that. And
when people receive, they want to give. And what happens then is I may give of my time or whatever, but I end up receiving because other people who have received are so appreciative of what they have received that they are willing then the next year to say, I'd like to help you out. What can I do?
With all its emphasis on families, perhaps it's no wonder that Forest View Community Church is presently meeting in an elementary school. Every Sunday they transform the school gym into a place of Christian worship. Heino says that people often ask him why a church is meeting in a school. The money coming from the Reformed Church and putting people in mission means more than just the fact that they will soon be able to purchase land and build a multi-purpose facility.
Canadians are quite conservative and appreciate roots and stability. Having the denomination behind, and I can say, well, this is how they're behind it with these funds, says to them, you know, there's a whole denomination behind it. And that's good.
The priesthood of all believers is one of the fundamental concepts of our Reformed tradition. Every person has gifts and talents which can be useful for the kingdom of God. And as we exercise and develop these gifts, we often find that our own relationship with God is enriched. Several programs supported by PPIM are designed to provide the training and opportunity to put lay people in mission. One such program is in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
You know, I go back and think of the book of Acts at the point that the early disciples, the church had grown to the point that they couldn't handle everything anymore. And so in the pressing needs to try to relate to people and to really meet the needs, they had to give the ministry away to the laity. They had to pray about it and then allow other people to really get their hands on the ministry. The putting people in mission money has enabled us to train our laity for ministry, and we call that the Laity Project here, because we want to develop a whole cadre of laity that own the ministry, that have their hands on it, that we can give it away to them. But you can't do that unless those people are really trained. You can't just say, well, here, go do it. You really have to give them an excellent level of training so that they can experience the success, the recognition, and see God use them.
Brian and Suzanne Summers have been members of Springs Community Church for about 2 years, and they have been trained and ordained as Stevens ministers. But before coming to Springs Community, they both say that the concept of serving Jesus was low on their priority list. As they have grown in their faith, however, they began to realize that they didn't want to just receive in Christianity. They needed to give, too.
I know that my work is important, and I know that I help people a lot. I work in an orthodontist office. I'm an office manager, and so I spend a lot of time with parents and patients, trying to help them through their financial concerns. And I know it's important, but I know there's more to life than that. So sometimes it gets to the point where it's just, I go to work, do what I can, and I can't wait to come home. I can't wait for the weekend. Sometimes it's really stressful. So it's nice to have something else in your life to help relax you and give you an ultimate goal, I think.
Suzanne's first experience as a Stevens minister came with a woman who was relatively new to their church. And although Stevens ministry counseling is always confidential, in this case, Celia Mansberger agreed to share her story with us.
I have to say that when my mom died in February, that it really surprised me because people were there for us, people we didn't even know. And Stevens ministry, of course, came out just the one time with Suzanne. And I don't know, but something happened that day, that night, with her. And I feel like I could, if I needed to, I could call her back and talk to her and discuss any kind of problems. And I think it's real important to have that backup in your life, to have that kind of ministry around you.
And that's the whole point of letting them know that, yes, you are here, but you're not the ultimate help, that you're just there to get them to the Lord, remind them who is there to help them.
2 years ago, coming from a typical construction background, you don't build relationships with people much. And you go and you get the job done, you do your thing, and you don't have time to stop and talk and meet people and build relationships and things like that. And it's a whole different perspective for me. You don't know, there's a lot of learning to be done, a lot of changing. And 2 years ago, I couldn't have seen myself sitting down and actually caring for somebody else and in my heart knowing that I need to be there and listen to the guy.
I think one of the challenges of ministry today is that the church can be relevant to people. Maybe the most condemning thing that's ever said is that the church is irrelevant to our contemporary society, that people think we just don't even matter anymore. And if we're going to be relevant, there comes a point again where a pastor, even a staff, can no longer do all the work of relating a real, dynamic, vibrant Christianity to everyday people. It has to get in the hands of those everyday people. It has to be in the hands of the laity again.
If someone would have confronted me a couple of years ago in the situation of giving them help, I could have never done it. I was in a crisis so deep for myself that I didn't care about anyone or anything. Without the training, I couldn't have helped anyone. Now I can say I can help someone. The training is there, and not only that, the caring is there, because I care more. I care about myself, my family, my life now, and it's just going on the right path.
Finally, just take 30 seconds and watch the first of our RCA TV commercials. PPIM funds are making their production possible. This and other spots will be available in the near future for your church or for groups of churches who wish to use them. These spots are intended to raise awareness of the RCA and may be combined with specific evangelism and outreach programs.
I talked to my mother on the phone last night. I just don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where we'll find the money to get her the care she needs. We're completely stretched out already. You know, sometimes I feel so guilty. Maybe we should never have moved.
People of faith, sharing the pressures of life. The Reformed Church in America.
Judy, thanks for caring.
Sharing the pressures and burdens of life, but sharing the dreams and solutions as well. That's really the essence of PPIM, sharing the needs and working together to meet those needs. Now that we're nearing the final phase of this campaign, please don't fall short of your pledges. Together, we've promised people like Ron Lowry and Mark Cahill, like Don DeYoung and David McPeters, like Karen and Heino Blau, and like Suzanne and Brian Summers, that we'll be there to complete the work that we've begun. We're in our final year, and with your help and God's blessing, we will reach our goals.